Archiving started.
All right, this first slide we're going to see is of a lymph node, and this particular slide is on scanning, which is the lowest power of the microscope. If you'll notice where I've got the arrow, there you can see the fibrous capsule. That's on the outside of the lymph node. And then on the inner part, let me erase these arrows. All right, now if you'll look at what I'm encircling, all right, there, that area, I know that circle's not quite big enough, but in these areas, you see the lymph nodules. Those lymph nodules are mostly made of lymphocytes. Later, when we put this on a little bit higher power, you'll be able to see the lymphocytes. So those would be the lymph nodules. All of the air, and you might see some more, but usually these are up close to the capsule, to the surface of it. But wherever you have these real tight of lymphocytes, which stain darkly using this blood stain, then you'll be able to see those lymph nodules. All right, if I erase those circles, all of the areas that you see surrounding the lymph nodules and more towards the center of the lymph node, those are just lymphatic sinuses, and that's what the lymph drains through. So you see several spaces. All these are spaces of the lymph sinuses, all of these areas. And again, the lymph drains through that. All right, if we move to the next slide, you can see this on a little bit higher magnification. There we see it. It's real easy on this picture to see the fibrous capsule, and then, if you will, follow my lines that I'm drawing. Here we go. There you see it in that encircled area. That would be, guess what? That's the lymph nodule right there. Okay, and then all of these other areas, and I'm just zigzagging across, that's the sinuses, the lymph sinuses, and that's what the lymph drains through. Okay, the next couple of slides would be of a spleen. Now, at first glance, the spleen does look quite a bit like the lymph node, but the spleen has two major tissues in it. That's real easy. They're called red pulp and white pulp. Obviously, the red pulp is where there's going to be a lot of red blood cells. The white pulp will be where there's a lot of white blood cells. Now, the spleen, if you remember from your lecture, the spleen filters blood, not lymph, whereas the lymph node filters lymph. But within the spleen, you still have these nodules or aggregations of lymphocytes, and because lymphocytes are white blood cells, in their natural state, unstained, unlike this slide, in the natural state, the white blood cells actually look white. So if you had a fresh spleen in your hand and sectioned it, you would actually see some little dots of white amongst all the red, and that would be the white pulp. And that's what you see right here, right here. So this would be analogous to the lymph nodule in a lymph node. And then all these other spaces that you'll see, like here and here, this is where the red blood cells or the blood's going to filter through. So all of this area that surrounds the white pulp would be called the red pulp. Okay, so let's just put a W right there and a W right there. That'd be white pulp. There's a little area of white pulp. There's white pulp. And then all of the rest of it would be the red pulp. Okay, now that's on the scanning. If we go a little bit higher in the magnification, this would actually be a low power. You know, low is a little bit higher than scanning. But here you can easily see that would be the white pulp. And then everything else you see in here is red pulp. And you can see the sinuses that the blood's going to drain through. Okay, I believe that's it. We will not do the thymus gland. The two slides you need to be responsible for in this exercise are simply the lymph node, be able to recognize the lymphatic nodules and the sinuses and the capsule. And then on the spleen, just all you have to do is be able to distinguish between the red pulp and the white pulp.
Archive recording.